So I live in Scotland. I live in Glasgow because my wife is from Glasgow. And she's posh. And I didn't know you got posh people from Glasgow. I didn't know that was a thing. I tell you one thing. It takes somebody from Blythe to move to Glasgow and to marry up. I figured it out. I figured out how you can find out if someone is posh or if someone is working class all the way down to their roots, down to their upbringing, right? All you need to do is ask a person from the UK how they chose who was it in a game of Tiggy, a game of tag, a game of hide and seek. Any game where one kid was on was it, and everybody else is running around, right? The one person that's on got chosen the very same way, no matter who you are. You put your feet in the middle, you do the dip, go around. Whoever it lands on, it's not that person. Their shoe leaves the equation. You keep on going until there's one person left. It's called the dip. Now, if you're talking to a working class person, the rhyme they use will be peppered with swear words. It'll be something like, ip, dip, dog shit, fucking bastard, dirty git. You are not it, fuck off with your shoe. In my school, Delville Middle School in Blythe, it was yum yum, bubble gum, stick it up the teacher's bum. If it sticks, pull her tits, turn them into Weetabix. Yes! You're singing along! I bet you never thought you'd be singing along to If It Sticks, Pull Her Tits, Turn Them Into Weetabix. Fucking get your latest up. If it sticks, pull her tits. Because that was working class kids. That's what the rhymes we chose when we were children, and that's how you figure it out. Because if you ask a posh person what rhyme they used, listen closely. No swear words, but listen, because it'll be something like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a fishy by the toe. And you'll be like, aye, fishy was it? You said fishy, didn't you? Is that what you said? Go on, what about your dad? What did your dad used to say? Tiger. Catch a tiger by the toe. Nice, interesting. What about your granda? What did your granda say? A tigger? No further fucking questions. Because I see where this is going. Because you see, working class people wear scummy on the surface. Posh people, rotten to the fucking core. Except my wife, she's wonderful. I won't hear anything bad said about that woman. But man, I always talk about my working class roots. If you've seen me on stage before, you know I talk about my working class roots because that's part of my identity. I pride myself of growing up in the council estate in Blythe. But here, I do gigs out in India. Can you imagine how that comes across when I'm stood on stage in Bangalore trying to tell the people of India about my childhood poverty? Are you joking? When I'm talking to them going, in my kitchen, there was like a built-in wine rack. And we couldn't afford wine. We used to use that to store carrier bags in. And they'll be sat there like, we used to wear carrier bags as shoes, you daft cunt. I just stood there like a reverse Rishi Sunak. We didn't have Sky TV. I've gigged in India about 5 or 6 times in my career. Like, I was there recently, earlier last year, and every time I go, I'm always astonished to see an entire family on a moped. It doesn't matter how many times I go, that will always catch me off guard. Right, the first time I saw it, right, Dad's in charge of the moped. He's driving the vehicle, right? And then behind the dad was a toddler, like a boy, maybe he's about 3 years old, holding onto his dad's shoulders for dear life as they're weaving in and out of traffic. And then behind the toddler was the mother, sat side saddle, with a swaddling baby in her arms. And only the dad was wearing a helmet. What kind of dick move is that? Fuck, what if he crashes his bike? What if he What if he wraps it? And his whole family's just smeared all over the road. And he's just stood over them like, fucking hell. That was close. Glad I was wearing this thing. I nearly lost everything. Checking to see if his moped's okay. Feel bad. I nearly died in India. I forgot to wear suntan lotion. I didn't bring any. And that is a fucking death sentence for a ginger. Yeah, I feel like I need to come out as having ginger hair. Can you all tell I'm ginger? Yes, a lot of no's and then a few yeses near the front. Is that because there's spotlights in my face and you can smell my flesh burning? Because, man, I've been ginger all my life. Just the last few years, my hair got darker and darker as I got older. It's a miracle. I feel like I've been cured. And I swear it's because I've moved to Scotland. I think that's why. Because when I lived in Blythe, when I lived in England, I was always the ginger kid. Up in Scotland, I am practically Mexican. This is exotic in Scotland. Even though my hair's not all that ginger anymore, I think you'll all agree I've still got a ginger face. I've got the ginger complexion. I've got these transparent eyebrows. They're actually bushy, but they're see-through. And because of that, I can't wear hats. You look good with a hat on. You know, you've got a beard, you've got glasses, it breaks up your face. Like, you can wear a hat. Can I borrow your hat? Because when I say I can't wear hats, I don't mean I don't suit them. I mean, it's morally wrong. It's unethical for me to wear a hat. In fact, you tell me, but when I put on this man's hat, like do I look terminally ill? Am I giving off GoFundMe vibes? Is that... Hey, fuck you, by the way. That was a yes-no question, you pack of cunts. I was kind of hoping you'd just answer and be like, oh, no, Kai, you look good. What are you talking about? Move on. Just want to go to Disneyland. I want to swim with the dolphins. Fuck, man, it's a bad look for me. So I'm in India. I didn't bring suntan lotion. I need to remedy this immediately before I die, right? So I go into a shop to buy some suntan lotion, and I'm in Bengaluru, and nothing on any of the products was written in English. Why would it be, right? So I pick up what I thought was suntan lotion. Sure, I look like suntan lotion. I got to the front of the counter, I put it down, and watched as the woman who was about to serve me just dies laughing. And then she eventually composed herself and explained to me that I had just tried to buy skin bleach. So go ahead and just live in this woman's world for a second. Just be this little Indian lady in Bengaluru as the whitest man she's ever seen in her entire fucking life. Just marches into the shop, confidently grabs skin bleach and goes, not white enough. Man, so I'm dying laughing. I eventually cool myself down and then asked this lady, right, why does this product exist? Why do you have skin bleach in India? And she explained to me, she spoke really good English, better than I do actually. And she explained to me that the skin bleach is for the outdoor workers. Anybody with an outdoor job in India, everybody can tell they work outdoors because they've been exposed to the sun and their skin's darker. And that's the poor paying jobs. So people bleach their skin to make it look like they have an indoor job. So people assume they've got a bit more money and that they're a bit more affluent than they really are. And I was listening to this and I was like, fuck off. Back home, our poor people wear fake tan. We go on sunbeds and that to make it look like we can afford to go on holiday when we can't afford a holiday. We're not that fucking different, really, are we, when you think about it? Anyway, I will buy that bottle. I'm going to look like a fucking billionaire. Let's get rid of these freckles. I'll buy Twitter. So I had this fella looking after us, right? I was lucky because when I was in India, I wasn't on my own. I was with this man, Ravi. He was a local, and he was taking care of me. He was taking me to the gigs. He was taking me to my accommodation, and he was just making sure I didn't get taken advantage of as a tourist by the locals, right? So he was driving me everywhere, and I was talking so much in his direction, right? Like just verbal diarrhea, all this sensory input coming out the window of his car, in my eyes, out my mouth, and I could tell he couldn't understand a fucking word I was saying. But I could tell he was listening. Because Indian people have this beautiful piece of body language. And I swear as Europeans, we miss out on this, you know. It's just this gentle head wobble. It's just really subtle. It just means I'm listening. That's all it is. You all look fucking rude right now, by the way. It looks like you're not paying attention at all. Express yourself, man. Actually, fucking don't. You will look racist the minute you do it. So we're kind of stuck with that. But he would just gently wobble his head and say, as soon as I stopped talking, he'd say, yes, sir, and just agree with whatever I said. And I kind of got the idea that he couldn't understand what I was saying, so I started fucking around. I was like, hey, Ravi, I've got a massive cock, by the way. Huge cock, hot country, can't wear shorts, hangs out the bottom of my shorts. And he'd just go, yes, sir. I was like, fucking Ravi can't even wear 3/4 length pants, man. Fucking huge cock. Do you know what they call me around here, Ravi? Schlong dog millionaire? You go, yes, sir. I had about 15 minutes having fun with that, right? Then I was like, check me watch. I was like, Ravi, if we've got time, can we go to the palace? I heard that everybody that I told I was going to Bengaluru said, you've got to go to the palace. If you get through, you get to see the Botanic Gardens. It's one of the greatest places. You should go. Would you like to come with us if you've got time? And Ravi gently wobbled his head, said, yes, sir, and then took me to the palace. He'd understood every fucking word. That left my face. It just chose to agree. Man, I was mortified. So me and Ravi were queuing to get into the palace, right? I was being a lot more cautious about what I was saying. But I can see up ahead where people are paying to get into the palace. There's an entry kiosk where people are paying, and there's a big sign, a plastic sign that's like embossed writing on it, saying, it had entry, 500 rupees. And then someone had taken a marker pen and scribbled underneath, foreigners, 700 rupees. And I was stood with Ravi going, how do you think they'll be able to tell? Do you think they'll know I'm not from around here? I was getting to the front of the queue, I'm like, act naturally. Fuck, man, of course they charged me full price. They took one look at me and decided I wasn't Indian, you know. And I wasn't butthurt by that. Like, I wasn't offended by that. I just, you know what, that's the only time in my entire life I've ever been discriminated against because of my skin colour. And it only cost me £1.20. Count your blessings when you see them, man. That's a blessed life. So I get into the garden with Ravi, we get in, and I'm walking around with him, and it was amazing. There was just monkeys running around, living their lives, right? And there was these three little monkeys eating out of a half of a watermelon. It was cut in half, and they're eating out of it with their hands. And me and Ravi walk by, and the three monkeys run away, right? And one of them hangs back. Two of them into the trees, one of them hangs back, cautious of the human threat, but doesn't want to leave its food behind, its precious resources. And I was like, oh, fuck, sorry, monkey, I'm not trying to steal your food or anything. Don't worry about me. And I picked up the watermelon to give back to the monkey. And as soon as I did this action, the monkey decided that we were fighting to the death. And I was engaged in mortal combat. With a small monkey. It was running towards me pretty fast, man. Its teeth were out, its hackles were off, it was making this kind of hissing noise. And I got that, you know the chemical dump that you get when you get a fight or flight response and your body gives you the adrenaline and epinephrine that you need to deal with the situation. I got that chemical dump, right, and just didn't use it at all. My body went fight or flight, and I went unsubscribe. I'm just going to stand here like a dick. Option number 3, do fuck all. And this monkey's closing the gap on me, right? I never got to find out what the monkey had planned because Ravi had one job and he stuck to it. Keep me safe. I wish you'd seen this man come in swinging. He kind of glanced and blow missed with the left and then clocked it clean in the face with the right. And I just watched this monkey take a hit and fuck off into the trees. Like, I don't know about you, but I've never seen anybody punch a monkey before. Not before, not since. That was a one-time life experience for me. And my blood was still coursing through my veins, right? My blood was pumping. And it was like a thrill. I was like, what the fuck, Ravi? What the fuck just happened there? I don't know what that monkey was going to do to me, but I think you just saved my life. You're my fucking hero, you, Ravi. And Ravi just puffed out his chest and went, yes, sir. Fucking love this man. So I've been to India enough times to know I didn't grow up in the hardship that I think I grew up in the council estates in Blythe, right? But even with that perspective, I know I've moved into a fancy area with my posh wife. And I know the area I've moved into is posh because the other day I was out walking my Cavapoo and I overheard these... And I overheard these two school children on the other side of the road, two young lads about 8, 9 years old in their school uniforms, walking home from school within earshot on the other side of the road. And just as they walked past me, one of the boys turned to his mate and went, "What's your favourite colour?" "Mine's teal." And I nearly kicked his little cunt in. There and then. Fucking teal. I had to Google the colour teal. I fucking had 3 attempts at the spelling before I got it right. So I found out what colour teal is. Can we all agree the colour teal is like a greeny blue? Yeah. Say a greeny blue, isn't it? Like a turquoise, a greeny blue. The boy is from Glasgow. Pick a fucking colour, green or blue, and you stick to it. I don't know how much you know about Glasgow, but them's the rules, right? If you pick green or blue, it's your whole entire life. It's dependent on that colour, right? If you're green, you support Celtic. If you're blue, you support Rangers. It's not just football. If you're green, you're Catholic. If you're blue, you're Protestant. It's not just football and religion. It's all kinds of things. It's what you think about the monarch. It's how you feel about independence. Every one of your beliefs is attached to green or blue. Fuck off with his hands across the water, namby-pamby, interior designer pish, trying to solve 200 years of sectarian violence. We're fucking teal. I can't have children in that catchment area, man. I can't have children there. I'd have to bring them back to Blythe and get them a proper education. Because, right, I don't have kids, right, but I'm at an age, right, I'm 41 and my wife's 39, and we're aware the window of opportunity is closing, so we've stopped taking precautions, but we're not ready for children yet. We'd like to wait a little bit longer if we could. We still both feel really young, and I know I'm not as young as I think I am. I'm not as young as I feel, and I know this because the world responds to me differently now. Like, not that long ago, I fell over, and my mate didn't laugh. Do you hear what I'm saying? He checked to see if I was all right before he would let himself laugh. If your friend falls over and you don't laugh, that means you don't think they fell over. That means you think they had a fall. I'm not half a fall age. That's not what age I am. But maybe I am. Fuck, I've got memories in my head that are from before my time. Like, sometimes I'll remember a thing and go, that can't be one of my memories. That must be my granddad's memory. That memory is from a different century. How's that mine? I remember a time before shower gel. Shower gel appeared in my life like a new technology. It didn't exist, and then it appeared, and then everyone had shower gel. It was like the iPhone. But I remember before that, when it was the household bar of soap, and I'd be sat in the bath trying to figure out if I'm washing my face with my mum's pubes or my dad's. And Mum, Dad, it was one of your pubes, by the way. They're in the room right now. I didn't have pubes and there was pubic hair on that soap. Oh, that was a bad time to make eye contact with my mother. So also at an age where, like I say, we've stopped taking precautions, right? And we don't have kids, but we're also at an age where it's a conversation that everybody brings up. I can't go a day in my entire life with people asking, so are you thinking about having kids? Are you going to try for children? And it's a bit uncomfortable, you know. I can't imagine how uncomfortable it is for couples who have been through difficulties and been through, like, failed IVF and miscarriages. Because me and my wife, we haven't been through any of that, right? And I still find it uncomfortable when I'm sat in a restaurant in a busy public place, and now I'm opposite my mother-in-law, and I have to somehow explain it to her that I'm raw dogging her daughter. And I don't know how to sugarcoat my words. I don't know how to do that. I try to use, like, double negatives to give her riddles to solve. And I'll be there like, oh, we're not trying. I don't know, I don't not never pull out and jizz on neither of our tits. How about that? And can I return the question? Do you two fuck bareback since the menopause, or? Oh, it's awkward now. Weird, because I thought it was awkward exactly one question ago that I asking about me fucking sex life in public. But I think not trying is the perfect way to word what is actually happening in my marriage, because we're not using condoms, we're not using a pill or anything like that, but we're also not using a spreadsheet and a thermometer and calling it intercourse. We haven't formalised it. I'm not going to go from Excel condoms to Excel spreadsheets. If you know what I mean. Like, do you know what I mean, though? Because, I mean, my condoms were far too big. They used to hang off my cock. What an unnecessary size of condom. That's where we are, right? This is where we are, right? If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, fucking get in. Get in. That's a happy life for me. And my wife can get behind that as well, man. She's like, you know, the last time me and my wife had a day off together, we took mushrooms and watched Lord of the Rings. Fuck, man, we're having a good time. Don't worry about us. But we can live with the idea of not having children and growing old together and seeing the world. It sounds like a class way to live, right? But it makes other people sad, other people who've had children, loved ones, people who care for me. They're like, but Kai, you've got to at least try to have children. It's one of the best feelings in the world. It's one of the vital joys of life. You've got to try. So if a parent tells me that having a child is the best feeling in the world, I believe it. I'll take their word for it from their experience. I believe it. Very much in the same way I would believe it if a heroin addict told me heroin was the best feeling in the world. Well, I'd be looking at them going, I fucking believe you. But I can tell by your sunken eyes that it comes at a cost. Because there's two things that terrify me, man. I collect life experiences, and I put myself out of my comfort zone to experience all this life has to offer. I know how this world works. You have to make a sacrifice to experience this thing. So if you want to do something like jump out of an aeroplane or bungee jumps, things I've done, you have to combat a fear before you can get the experience. Standing on stage doing this, you have to combat fear every single day so that you can get the experience of what it feels like. I've been in the boxing ring, I've been on the bull run, I've done some mad shit where I know there's a trade-off so I can get the experience. But there's two things that fucking terrify me, the sacrifice you would have to make to enjoy the thing. Having children and taking heroin. And I'm leaning more towards heroin. I don't know how, but they're making it look better. I've seen people give up on their children to take heroin. I'm from Blythe. I've never seen anybody quit the junk and start a family. That's a one-way street. But I guess if I wanted to do either of those things, if I wanted to take heroin or conceive a child, both of those things start the exact same way. They both start with taking your belt off. And then I guess you would have a little spoon. Couple of slaps on the wrist. Small injection with a little prick. And all of a sudden your life has changed forever. You know, I've always called heroin my cancer drug because I think if I got diagnosed with a terminal illness and got told that I only had a specific amount of time left to live, I'd probably give it a go, you know, because you get to experience it without the side effects. Because the side effects are the reason we don't do it. You do know this, right? You do know that we don't do heroin because it's shit. I don't need to tell anybody that here, do I? Like, if you are the most anti-drugs person in the world, if you got injected with heroin right now, you're having the best day of your fucking life. And then the rest of your life is ruined. That's why we don't take it, because you're chasing that dragon forever. You're always looking for that same experience you got the first time, but you can never find it. It's very much the same as having a baby when you've got a toddler. So if I was diagnosed with terminal illness, I'd give heroin a go to experience it without living to see the consequences. Maybe I could just do that with children as well and have myself a little cancer baby. Fuck you, Newcastle. Fuck you. That joke was nowhere near as bad as you... It was nowhere near as bad as you just made it sound with that reaction. The baby didn't have cancer in that joke. In the joke, I was the one with cancer. That's what the joke was. The baby just didn't have a dad. So if you have children, I'm under no illusion how difficult it is, a job that you're doing, right? I know how hard it is you're doing. I'm very aware of the sacrifice you made to have kids, and I congratulate you for it. It looks terrifying. It's mad that you're doing it. So I would never judge parents. I can't look at parents and judge them on their parenting techniques. I'm not in a position to. Man, if you have to throw your kid an iPad to get yourself 3 hours peace while they get ADHD, just do it, man. Fucking do it. Do what you've got to do to get through the day. If you've got to get your entire family on a moped, I'm sure you've exhausted every other option. I can't judge you, apart from one thing. There's one thing parents are doing, and they're doing it more and more, and it needs to stop. But you know when parents give their child a double-barreled second name? That's the most selfish thing I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. What a compromise that suits the parents and then fucks up the child. And if you've got a double-barreled second name, please, I'm not taking the piss out of you, I'm not. I'm calling your parents pricks. Because they had a conversation and didn't come up with an answer, right? Now your kid's stuck with a double-barreled second name, and if they grow up and fall in love with somebody whose parents are also dickheads, and then they have a kid, do they then do what you did, or does it stop there? Do they give their kid a quadruple-barreled second name? Is that what we're doing? Is that what? Are we going to have to live in a world with a child called, I don't know, Timothy Calvert-Lewin Parker Bowles? Because I don't even need to meet that child to know his favourite colour is teal. And it's exponential as well. Because it would go 4, then it would go 8, then it would go 16. We're like 2 generations away from a teacher standing up in front of class taking register, going, pew, pew, Barney McGrew, Cuthbert, Dibble, Grub. And one kid going, here, miss. Let's get mad at that. You know, we live in the era of the culture wars where everyone's told what to get mad at. And it's like, you know, the media will decide what we'll get mad at, and we'll get mad at it from one side or the other. These are the things we're going to fight over for clicks. And like a lot of people at the minute are getting angry from one side or the other about gender identity without even taking into consideration there is far more to identity than just gender. So when everybody else is fighting over that, I'm not even going to have a word about it. I'm going to go rogue and get mad at these people because of their identity. I know somebody from Newcastle who identifies as a Man United fan. And nobody is buying it. He puts on their clothes and everything. Just use the same anger that they're giving, but put it this direction. He puts on the Man United clothes and then he talks with a Geordie accent. When he goes to the stadium, he wants to use their turnstiles to get in. See, if I had a choice between changing my gender or supporting Man United, I'd be flashing my tits at the Toon game. I don't have no responsibility. I do have some responsibility. I fucking love a double negative. I don't have children, right? But I do have a little dog. And I said earlier, I have a cavapoo. And it sounded like a joke, but I'm not joking. I have a cavapoo. Do you all know what a cavapoo is? It's a what? Back alley mix-up. It's a mongrel dog, isn't it? It's a crossbreed. It's a Tory dog. It's a dog that was bred to be cute, and then they charge thousands of pounds for fucking cunts to have it, like mugs, to buy them. And my wife wanted this dog. I didn't want the little dog. I didn't want the little Tory dog. I wanted a big dog. I'm a man. I wanted a big dog that's going to protect the house from burglars. And I've ended up with a little dog that might get burgled. My wife won that conversation. I tried. I failed. And the cavapoo's called Peggy. That's who I am now. I've got a cavapoo called Peggy. I like the name too, man. I argued about the dog breed. I didn't argue about the dog name. I quite like the name Peggy. And I've since found out that the name Peggy is actually short for Margaret. And I've accidentally named my dog after Thatcher. And that bitch closed the mines and took my milk. She's the reason I grew up in hardship. And hey, Peggy didn't take my milk, but she has taken an entire shelf in the fridge belongs to my dog. I shit you not. Every time I'm home, I open the door and see a shelf full of food that's meant for humans, but it's kept for Peggy, and I'm not allowed to touch it. I'm going to talk you through it, right? There's the Primula cheese. It's the spreadable cheese. You know, it comes in like a toothpaste tube. This is a high-value treat. It's in case Peggy has something in her mouth that she's not supposed to have. And you quickly get the Primula, and you're like, smell the cheese, you little cunt. And she drops the thing for the Primula, and you quickly kick it away, and you've saved the situation. And then there's just these like regular hot dogs that's just to chop up for training treats, for like recall training and stuff. But then next to that, there's these glass jars of like sandwich spread, like salmon paste and chicken paste to put on top of her dry kibble, alternating days in case she gets bored. And you fucking dare give Peggy dry kibble and just watch her look up at you like, do you think I'm gonna eat this without my council pâté? So I open the fridge every day and see a whole shelf of food that I'm not allowed to touch. That was my entire diet as a child. In the 80s and the 90s in Blythe, that's all we'd eat is the Primula cheese, the hot dogs, the sandwich spread, the dog food. The Blythe diet. So I've got this entitled little dog, a pretentious dog. I honestly thought, like, Peggy is a dog that's owned by pretentious people, and then I got Peggy, and I didn't want Peggy in my life, right? Now I've got Peggy in my life. I fucking love her. Right? I'll sit there playing PlayStation, and she'll just get into the crook of my arm and stare deep into my soul. Right? She doesn't need the PlayStation for entertainment. She's just filling her heart up with love, and I look back at her, and I'm like, I love you too, Peggy. I honestly thought you were a dog, like a pretentious little dog, but I realised by me judging you, I was the pretentious one by thinking you didn't have value in my life. I admit it, I was pretentious. And then when I got Peggy as a puppy, I found out there actually is a pretentious type of dog owner, and I wasn't expecting it. It did catch me off guard. But you see, people with rescue dogs. There's a group of people who like to use their dog to make you feel bad about your decision-making at any fucking opportunity. You know the amount of times I've heard from people, adopt, don't shop. And I'll be looking back at them going, Barbara, we're doing different things. I've got a companion for my wife when I'm not around, and you took in a traumatized wolf. It's not the same project. This is my first ever dog. I didn't want to set the difficulty to God mode. Like, if you have got a rescue dog, I just need to tell you, you're doing such a good thing. It's brilliant what you're doing, but you're being fucking vegans about it. Whenever you try to make me feel bad now, I spin it back on you. That's what and as soon as someone's like, adopt, don't shop, I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry if Peggy needed to go through 2 years of torture and neglect to be welcome in your home. But we thought we'd give her a good start. Go and hover around someone else's dog like a fucking vulture. I know I'm being a dick, by the way. I know I'm being a dick. Because you are doing a good thing. And this is why I'm being a dick, right? Because sometimes you're not virtue signaling. You need to communicate the information that your dog is a rescue. You're not doing it to lord over us. You're doing it because your dog's been through trauma and it's reactive and you don't want us to get too close to startle your dog. Our dog might be unsafe and just the safety of the humans involved too. It's important information to pass on. But you have to be aware there are people who are living among you who are using the word rescue to make them sound like heroes, like you are, when they're fucking not. And all you need to do is ask questions about the dog, and the story comes out. And they'll be like, oh yeah, the dog was owned by a pensioner, and the old man got moved into a home by his family, so the dog needed somewhere else to live, so we took in the dog. And you'll be listening to that story, and you'll be like, wait a minute, that dog's life got worse. That dog's living a worse life. It used to live with a retired old man who was off work all day, every single hour with its best friend. An old man who got moved into a nursing home by his family, so he was losing his mind a little bit. I bet you that man once or twice forgot that he'd already fed the dog. That dog got fed a lot. Oh, and I bet the old man's laundry stank of piss. Oh, dog heaven. And now it lives with you. And you're out of the house for 9 hours a day selling price plans. And then you come home and ignore the dog to play on your phone. You didn't rescue a dog. You got a second-hand dog. Just say that. All right, I'll play along. I've got a rescue car. What's the game? I got some rescue clothes from Vinted. Why are we doing this? Just say the second-hand. You didn't rescue a thing. I just think, however a dog comes into your home, whether you got that dog as a puppy, whether you rehomed them, which is still a very valuable thing that you've done, right? Or whether you're rehabilitating that dog from trauma, which is amazing what you're doing, right? Anything good that you do, you should never use it to make yourself look better or to make people feel bad about their decisions. That said, I did have a Ukrainian person living in my house for 6 months. And what a fucking trump card that was. When people were like, we've got a Romanian rescue dog. Hey, fuck off. We've got a Ukrainian rescue human. You think fireworks are bad in your house? Anyway, Karen, give us a few of them poo bags. Just having a mad one. We did live with a Ukrainian for 6 months it was, that she moved in for. And it was weird making the decision. It was a strange portion of my life, right? It was because everything was happening on the news, and there was a hotel not far from where we lived that was filling up with displaced Ukrainians. And every day, me and my wife had the same conversation where we were like, look, I think this is on us. We've got no children. We do have a spare room. There's even a spare bathroom. Like, we're in a privileged position. And I think if we're not helping out, I'm actually not sure who is. So I went online and filled in the forms and stuff, and I'd never done anything like that before. The nearest thing I've ever done to that is I once sponsored a donkey sanctuary for £10 a month. And, like, periodically, I'd get, like, a letter from a donkey. And there would be like a picture of a donkey eating a carrot, and then like this handwritten, like kind of printed, but like in a handwriting cursive text, like just a donkey first person telling us about its day and shit. Like, that's honestly not what happens when you take in a Ukrainian. They move in with you. So we went through the process, we got paired up with somebody, and we had the house ready for our moving in. We're showing around, there's the bedroom, there's the bathroom, went into the kitchen, opened the fridge door, like, don't touch any of that food, that's Peggy's. And then I went into my study, right? I've got this small room in my house that's not big enough to be a bedroom, so I've put a computer desk in there, and I'm showing her just like, if you need to use my computer, that's there. There's the Wi-Fi router. If you need the password, it's on the back. There's some stationery in that cupboard. And as I was talking, I spot this picture, right? I've got all these pictures of places I've been on my travels, and one of the biggest one, front and center, a massive photo of me, stood with 2 thumbs up, smiling, in front of St. Basil's Cathedral, Red Square, Moscow. And you do know the cathedral I'm talking about, St. Basil's. It's a really iconic, like, it's really flamboyant. You know, the purple swirls, the camp. It's such a strange place to find gay architecture. It's so gay. You know, when you're walking through Moscow, and it's just all these, like, kind of looming Soviet buildings in the bracing cold of November, and it's quite tense in Moscow. It's got this heavy atmosphere, like a war memorial. And then you turn onto Red Square, and St. Basil's just stood there like, hiya! Welcome to Carré Rouge! Like, shut up, man, Basil, it's illegal to be gay in Russia. You're gonna get fucking lynched. It's like, you know what I'm like when I've had a couple of white Russians in it? Boop. The front's closed, you're gonna have to come round the back. Basil, man, the KGB's right there. And I didn't realise how strange I was until I lived with a stranger. I do this thing with Peggy, right, where I pick her up by the armpits. I'm very aware dogs don't have arms. But leg pits sounds gross. I grabbed her by the leg pits. Just sound like Donald Trump trying to rein it in. So I pick her up under the front paws and just like grab her by the ribs and just kind of shug her around like that, and her paws go up and down like and she's already like super cute anyway, but she's really like a ball of fur, but when her head goes back and her paws come out, she looks so stupid. And then I just say anything in her direction. It doesn't matter what I'm saying, it doesn't need to make sense. She just loves being communicated with. So I'll just say whatever comes into my head, and I'll just be there just going, my name is Peggy, bo 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 bo. I am a doggy, do 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 do. You are my Peggy dog. Which I swear to God is fine in the comfort of your own home. But have you ever made eye contact with someone who's fleeing a war zone? And they're looking at you like you've just breached the Geneva Convention. I swear she got her phone out and started booking flights back to Mariupol. I can't live in this hell any longer. It was a strange 6 months, but I did spend 2 months of that 6 months not in the country. I was away from home for a lot of that time. I was in Australia doing this big tour. And when I'm away from home, right, there's a 3-week mark when I get homesick. And that's the point in time where, like, I'm having a lovely life, I'm loving me gigs, I'm loving me travelling. I get to 3 weeks and I start missing my home. I miss me dog, I miss me wife, I miss me PlayStation. Fuck you, that was the correct way to say it. That was the correct way to say it, she's not in the room. Right? Like, of course, like, I can tell my wife I miss my wife. I can phone her any day. Right? My dog thinks I'm dead. So I get a bit homesick, and when I'm getting homesick, I try to take care of myself. I'm like any 40-year-old man. When he starts dealing with his own mental health, I'll do things like have a cold shower and have a morning run. You know, that sort of stuff. Anything but therapy. So I'm on one of my morning runs, right? I'm in the Gold Coast, 7 o'clock in the morning, having this jog, and I'm just pinching myself how lucky I am to be doing this, right? And just, you know, checking myself. And when I'm having a run, I got assaulted. And not by a person. I know there's chavas in Australia. Did you know that? They're called bogans. Do you know they have, if you're not from Newcastle, chavs, or if you're from Scotland, neds, they call them bogans in Australia. They're not as scary as the chavas of Newcastle. Because, like, you know what, we live in a cold country, they'll be wearing their big berghouse jackets or whatever the fuck they wear now. You don't know if they've got a knife, they might be hench, you don't know who you're looking at. They live in a hot country, so they wear, like, vests and flip-flops and shit. And I can't be intimidated by anybody if I can see their ankles. Like, even the policemen, I don't know how the police have any authority in that country. They just ride around on bicycles with shorts on. Like, fucking ring, ring. Piss off, officer. But their animals are no fucking joke. There's so many animals in Australia that can just kill you immediately. But not me. I got fucked up by a magpie. The common bird. The emblem of Newcastle United. Black and white on black and white crime. So I'm running, right? I'm running, and it just fucking thud on the side of the head. Knocks me off balance. I didn't even know what had happened. I thought I had to kick a ball back to some kids. And there's this magpie about to attack again, and I'm fucking like, shit, fucking fending it off. Like, Ravi! Ravi, help! I didn't have Ravi. But I did think back to that day in Bengaluru with the monkey, because I got the chemical dump, the same fight or flight response started coursing through my veins. But what do you do against a bird? You can't fight against something that's out of reach. I couldn't reach it. And you can't fly from something that can fly. Like, I was already having my morning flea. I was mid-flea when I got. So my brain's going, you can't fight it, you can't flee from it, so don't do nothing, don't just stand there this time. And then something in my head just went, there's a fourth option. Do both. Like, what do you mean both? Fight and flight. It's like, you got a better idea? It's like, I'll give it a fucking go. And I just ran off. Man, full sprint, punching the airspace above my head, trying to guess the magpie's next move. And then I had what I could only describe as a fall. As I skid across my face, I took all of the skin off the palm of my hand, off my elbow, right, pissing the blood. My head hit the deck, actually. I felt the white lights coming in, but I didn't go unconscious. And I braced myself for this magpie to attack again, and it just went, ah, and fucked off. Just left me in the dirt. And I get up, and I'm dusting myself down, right? I'm fucking sweating, I'm bleeding, I'm out of breath from my recent sprint. I'm about a mile away from my accommodation, but my run is finished. So I just start the sad walk home. And as I'm walking home, there's this young lad getting his tools out of his van, this tradie, about to start his day's graft on the house, and he spots me bleeding and sweating and out of breath, and he looks at me, he's like, fucking hell, what happened to you? I went, I just got fucked up by a magpie. And then he went, a magpie got you? It's not even swooping season. Fuck off, you have seasons for that shit. And I got fucked up in a pre-season friendly. Fucking hell, embarrassing, man. Embarrassing. So I patched myself up, and I got through. I got through that 2 months pretty easy without getting too homesick. You know, it's hard to be homesick when there's somebody living in your house that might not have a home to go to. You know, I don't know how anybody can have anything other than compassion for somebody who moves to this country, especially if they've been displaced, especially if they've come over on their own and they need support. And I guess I've had a bit more exposure to this because my wife's mother is from Oman, you know, the country Oman in the Middle East. Yeah, I'm not patronising you. I just have to make it clear, otherwise in our accent it sounds like I've forgotten where she's from. Yeah, but like, my wife's mother's from Oman. What's that place called again? Go on, you know. It's next to Yemen. Oman. Natalie's mother is from Oman, and she's Arabic. And she's a Muslim, and she's fucking wonderful. And she's not a very good Muslim, if that makes sense to you. Like, she does some of the stuff, but not all of the stuff. Like, she's been here a long time. She kind of picks and chooses which bit she does. Right, let's go through it. Like, she doesn't fast for Ramadan. She doesn't do that. She won't touch any pork products or anything. Like, she doesn't eat bacon or anything like that, but she doesn't mind making pigs in blankets. For everybody else for Christmas dinner. That's for us. She occasionally drinks. She won't pull a Christmas cracker because that's gambling. Right, I'm being silly now. But you get my point. She does some of the things, but not all of the things. And there was a moment of panic in her household as one of her relatives came over from Oman. It was Natalie's cousin, so Natalie's mother's nephew flew from Oman to study cybersecurity in university in Amsterdam for 2 years. And while he was relatively so close to his extended family, he flew the rest of the way to Glasgow to spend some time. And there was just this moment of panic as we're just trying to make the house a bit more Muslim-friendly. Israel put all of the booze in the garage, and they made sure all the meat was halal. They threw out my bacon. And we're all sat around the table just pretending to be good Muslims. Man, I was joining in. I started talking about the Saudi takeover of Newcastle United. And we got away with it. We breathed a sigh of relief, and Natalie's mum did anyway. And Mustafa flew back to Amsterdam. And 2 months later, I flew to Amsterdam to do a show, and Mustafa came to the show. And after the show, me and him had a pint. And fucking Mustafa, he rolled me a spliff. I was spliffing. What was that about in Glasgow? Why were we doing that pantomime? Or he just said, I just wanted Mandy to think I'm a better Muslim. It's so sweet, man. Fucking beautiful people, good people. And I just want to say fuck Tommy Robinson and fuck Nigel Farage and fuck everyone who's generating hate speech towards all people. Because my wife is from a Muslim family and my football team is owned by a Muslim country. Islam has brought me nothing but tits and Champions League football. So yeah, my wife is born and raised in Scotland, Scottish dad, but mixed race. Her mother, she's half Arabic, which is so exotic for me. You must understand that. You know, if you'd done an archaeological dig within a 5-mile radius of the house I grew up in, you'd find every one of my ancestors. I am the only one that escaped the Petri dish of Blythe. And I've only got as far as Glasgow. So Natalie's Arabic, but she's never been to the Middle East. And I've been to the Middle East fucking loads. So I come back and tell her about the motherland. Like, I'm more Arabic than she is at this point. I've had a largely good time out there as well. I've had good experiences in the Middle East, but there was one gig I did that was so fucking dodgy. It was this gig in Bahrain, and when I say it was dodgy, I mean, like, I wasn't meant to be there. I didn't have a visa, the gig didn't exist, I was getting paid cash. Right, so I flew in illegally into Bahrain, and because I didn't have a visa, right, the promoter, if you can call him that, he says, when you come into land in Bahrain, you're going to get given this slip of paper, and it's going to ask you a few questions about yourself, and when it gets about your flight number and stuff, and when it gets to occupation, just don't put performer, don't put entertainer, otherwise they're going to have questions about if you're going to be public speaking in this country, so just don't put that. And I was like, I didn't know what to put, so I put writer. And then I get to the front of border security, and I've been in the queue, and I've got my passport, I've got my slip of paper, and as soon as I put it underneath the glass, the official got onto his radio, said something in Arabic, and then these two Bahraini policemen come and handcuffed me and just heavy-handed bundled me into a room and started screaming in my face. And I'm looking at these two policemen as they're just shouting at me, and I'm like, I mean, they sound like they're from Newcastle. But I can't understand a fucking word they're saying. Is that what it's like for me when I'm talking to everybody else? I'm like, fucking yes, sir. And then one of these policemen attempted to speak English, and he got the slip of paper, and he went, writer. And I went, yes. And he went, what do you write? I was like, jokes. And he did not know the word jokes. So he just repeated it back with a question mark. He went, jokes? I don't know how to explain jokes to somebody in their second language. I was sat there, I was nervous. I was like ha, like ha. I was fucking so scared. And then he went, who do you write for? I was like, oh, actually, I've never thought about that. The disenfranchised working classes of Newcastle. Put that down. And eventually, me and these two policemen got to the bottom of what the fuck was happening in the room that day. Some of you might even be able to remember this, but back in 2012, there was a civil uprising in Bahrain where they started rioting on the streets and they started burning tyres. That was the big thing they were doing to stop traffic. And as soon as this was happening, the government of Bahrain had a global journalist ban on the entire country. And during this lockdown for journalists, I just walked into that country and went, I'm here to write about it. I'm a journalist. And they spent about 3 minutes in my company before they went, he's not a fucking journalist. Just let him in, behave yourself. So because I went through such pains to get into Bahrain as a writer during a journalist ban, I thought I'd better write some material about Bahrain. So I had my eyes open that day and I went around with my notepad and I made some notes and I did it on stage that night. And that is the only time these jokes have ever worked. Was in Bahrain that night. So for them to work here tonight in Newcastle, you just all need to pretend you're from Bahrain. We're in Bahrain, you're from Bahrain, and I come on, here. Here, how many fucking rug shops do you need? Right, not enough for you, I'm pretending to be from Bahrain. Because they were fucking dying at that. Because I shit you not, every other shop is selling rugs. It doesn't make any sense, because right, once you've got a rug, you've got a rug. It's a one-time purchase, a rug, and it's not part of your weekly shop. Nobody's got that monthly spreadsheet with outgoings like gas and electric, fucking rent, rugs. There was a 24-hour rug shop. You don't need to be from Bahrain to find that funny. Who the fuck is lying in bed at night, tossing and turning? Fucking jonesing for a rug. Oh, it's been 3 hours since me last rug. I'm fucking suck a dick for a rug at this point. And then just swing their legs around the side of the bed and put their feet down on the cold, hard floor. Just venture into the night for a midnight rug. So my wife, Arabic, never been to the Middle East, not Muslim. But she has taken on one part of the Muslim faith out of superstition, and superstition alone. And I swear, my opinion is that all religion is a superstition that went too far. And I know it's contentious to talk with that opinion, especially if I stay on Islam for too long. I don't want to get into trouble. But if I look at other religions, let's do another religion just for balance. If I look at like Buddhism through the lens of somebody who just doesn't believe in it, like you cannot tell me that the idea of reincarnation is not funny. Like what if my granddad came back as my dog? And I'm just there going, I am a doggy, do 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 do. My name is Baby, bo 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 bo. My granddad's like, you fucking never used to do this when I was a man. And I like, and he was like, roar, roar, roar. You fucking grounded you, by the way. Just wait until I fucking I'll piss in your suitcase, you dickhead. So the one thing my wife does is she kisses the Quran before taking a long journey. And she only does this because her mum does that. But so when she was a kid and she's going on holiday with her family, her mum would kiss the Quran. She'd kiss the Quran as well. And now she's an adult and she's not religious at all, but she's scared that if she doesn't kiss the Quran before she takes a long journey, something bad will happen. It's a lot like walking over 3 drains. Right? So get this, it happened, you know, the one time she didn't kiss the Quran, she took a long journey from Glasgow to London in the car, so she considered that long enough to justify kissing the Quran. So went to her mother's house first, her mother whips out the Quran, they have a cup of tea, Natalie forgets about it and takes the drive, and sure enough, this is the day she breaks down. So she's just past Manchester, she's broken down, she phones me, and she's so angry at herself. I wasn't even in the country at the time. She just phoned me for support, right? And she was like, oh, I knew it was going to happen. I thought about doubling back, but it was already a long journey. I didn't want to waste any more time, so I kept driving, and for the whole drive, I knew it was going to happen, and it happened, and here we are. And then, like I say, she phoned me for support, so I thought I'd try to cheer her up with a joke. So I was like, wait, it's not over yet. You've got your phone in your hand, so you could just use that to get the Kindle app and get the Quran on ebook, and then give your phone a kiss and see if your car starts. And man, I said it as a joke. I thought she would laugh like you laughed. But she didn't laugh. She was like, well, if I'm going to do that, I'll need my phone, so I'll call you back. And hung up. I was like, oh man, I've just made it worse. But sure enough, 20 minutes later, she phones us back and she's like, Kai, I can't believe it worked. The AA turned up. I was like, yeah, that's because you phoned the AA. They turned up because you phoned them, not because you've been licking your phone on the hard shoulder. Like it's a Sunday at a music festival. It's like, what do you think AA stands for? Allah Akbar. We can't have children, man. We can't, and we shouldn't. I don't know what we would be like as parents. We're such a strange mix of people to be raising children. Like, what would I be like entertaining a child? I'd just be there, like, I've got your nose, and then do a bump of coke with it. And she'd be feeding the kid, like, here comes the aeroplane, and here comes another one. We cannot have twins. Twins is out of the question. Well, do you know, when I wrote this show, I was going to end on that joke. Right? It's a comedy show, end on a joke. That'll do. But I want to travel the world performing this show everywhere that I can possibly go. So I do need to end this show on a joke that I can tell in New York. So I'm going to end by telling you a true story about when I was in New York, right? I took a helicopter flight. Well, you know, when I talk about collecting life experiences, a bucket list life experience, if you can do it, one of the best ways to experience New York is to get in a helicopter and see Manhattan from above at close range, right? What a great experience. You're catching up. You're catching up on the laughs. It's all good. It's all good. I felt that. I could feel it simmering. It's like, you know, when you're like, have I left the oven on? Have I left the oven on? One of your jokes is still cooking over here, but I turned that off. You know when you think you've turned it off, but you've just left it on one? You've just left it on one, you can kind of feel the warmth in the house, and you're like, oh, fuck, guy, that's been a good... Alright. So before I could get in the helicopter for this helicopter flight, I had to go through the rules. Because that's like anything that you want to do that's fun in life, you have to go through the rules because somebody fucked it up for everybody else. So I'm sat in this room with a bunch of other people that are about to get in the helicopters, and they're bringing all the rules up on the TV screen, and they're reading them out as they come up, and they're coming up in several different languages. And one of the rules that comes up is, please do not approach the helicopter with a child on your shoulders. Who fucked that up? Who's that rule for? Who's like, fucking, don't tell me what to do. Fucking do what I want. Fucking, not again. Ugh. Just wearing a child's legs like a travel pillow. I'm comfortable, but I'm sticky. I'm not even a dad. Someone's in trouble. So let's end on that. Oh, but Kai, it's a comedy show. We need to leave with a message. Look, if you took a message from that show, please let me know what it was. I'm just here to make you laugh, man. I want to experience the world in my own way and just describe it to you in a way that might make you laugh. That's why we're here. But look, fuck you. You might have took something from my show. I don't know. It's not up to me to hold your hand and talk you through my art. But I don't know where you are in your life, and I don't know how you're receiving this, right? So this might be you. You might be someone who doesn't have children, or can't have children, or fuck it, doesn't want to have children, and now you are looking a bit more optimistically towards a future that's a bit different to the one society dictates that you're supposed to have. Maybe that's you. Maybe this is you. Maybe you do have children, and you're thinking about taking heroin. I don't know who you are, I don't know where you are in your life, but fucking enjoy it and get the most out of it. There's so much to be had. Have a fucking lovely time. I've been Kai Humphries. Thanks for being here.